What's up YouTube? This is GalacticGod and I'm coming at you now with a video to kind of talk to you guys and discuss and give my opinions on the official TCG ban list for September 1st, 2013. And yeah, this is pretty crazy. I'm going to kind of get into everything about how I feel. I'm not going to kind of go card for card and do all that. I think a lot of other channels have already done that. I just want to kind of give a brief overview of, maybe the bigger points. I think the first really big thing is that this format is going to be a lot smaller. Looks like Konami has went ahead and they've changed the TCG to 3 formats a year. Now, about a little bit less than a month ago, I made a video addressing about 3 things or so that Konami could do to actually help improve the Forbidden list. In it, I suggested we move the formats from doing every 6 months to every 4 months, which it looks like it's something that they decided to do. And then I also suggested having a drastic change in Forbidden list from the OCG to the TCG, which is something else that they actually did. So I don't know, it's pretty cool that, a couple of things that I suggested actually came to fruition here in the TCG, and I think that is kind of neat and kind of bold for Konami to do that, and I'm kind of really looking forward to like these overall changes. Personally, I think going from 6 month to 4 month formats is definitely going to help the game. Typically about halfway through a format, things tend to get stagnant and people start to not care for the format as much as they did when it first began. I think moving it just up to 4 months is going to definitely improve that. Alright, let me go ahead and get into the actual changes of the list. Now first, I want to address the fact that Trishula did not come back to us. It stayed off the list, which is probably one of the things that I'm most disappointed with. I was really looking forward to playing Trishula again. For those of you guys who watch my channel for a long time, you know I love the Synchron deck, and adding a really powerful Synchro monster back to that deck was something I was definitely looking forward to. I was not looking forward to all the herpy-derpy stuff that they could do, and Atlanteans and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, they had hit Diva and Dragoon, which was like the big play for them to go herpy-derpy with Trishula, so I don't know. I think the Trishula still could have come back. The other big change I think a lot of people were talking about is Stratos getting hit. For me personally, I don't understand the reasoning behind Stratos getting hit. I know they gave us back Malicious, but is that third Malicious really justification enough for Stratos getting hit? In my opinion, no. I don't think the D-Heroes would have been that big of a force to contend with Stratos as well. I mean, I don't know. Now the biggest change is actually going to come with Heavy Storm being forbidden. For those of you guys who do not remember, a couple years back we had a few formats in a row with Heavy Storm gone, put on the ban list, and it was a very trap heavy time in Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's actually an era that I really liked. I don't personally like Heavy Storm too much in a lot of decks. A lot of people think that the game needs Heavy Storm to keep some kind of balance for people setting all this back row. But I think having Heavy Storm around prevents players from playing certain types of cards. Nobody really plays that many continuous spells or traps or equip cards or field spell cards, because once you set that field spell card out there with 1 protection back row, you're now allowing your opponent to get that plus from Heavy Storm. And if you set more than 1 protection, then they're really going to plus off you once they drop the Heavy Storm. And I think that halters people from playing certain kinds of cards. And I think with Heavy being gone, I think that'll allow more things to open up and people to try possibly new and different kinds of decks, and that they normally would not have tried because of Heavy Storm being around. Now, to try and keep a balance of all this back row that's going to happen with Heavy Storm being gone, Konami kind of preemptively hit a lot of the really powerful traps, which I think was kind of smart. I mean, if you're going to get rid of Heavy, you got to know that people are going to start running a lot more traps. So they limit Bottomless Trap Hole and Torrential Tribute and Compulse down to 1. They don't bump Mirror Force up to 3 for us. They leave it at 2. They limit Dimensional Prison and just kind of lower the amount of really powerful traps, because they know, they don't want just people playing like 3 Compulse, 2 Bottomless, 2 Torrentials, 3 Mirror Forces, just to like all this hate in the back row. Now it kind of forces you to play some other cards and kind of, branch out and try different ones and be a little more creative with your back row, and I think that's kind of cool. Also, they preemptively hit Thunder King down to 1, which I also think is pretty smart. For those of you who never played in this kind of format before, your opponent summoning out a Thunder King and then setting 4 or 5 back row is just a horrible thing to have to try and grind through. Essentially, it stops you from doing any of your kind of search cards with Rhoda or Tin Key. A Pot of Duality becomes useless, so you can't dig for answers. You know, even if you get to your dark hole or something, you try playing it, they might have a Forbidden Lance or something to save it, then you go to attack, and then they mirror force you, and it's like, oh, you just can't break through it. And, you know, even if you manage to summon a monster, you know, big enough, they're just going to destroy it with Thunder King. That's if one of those other back rows isn't something to get rid of it as well. And it's just grinding through 3 Thunder Kings, or even 2, you know, is kind of an issue, and so they just limit it down to 1. So, you know, if you do get the Broke's Hand, just are able to summon the Thunder King with a gazillion back row. You know, you don't have to deal with it every game first turn, and I think that was kind of why Thunder King ultimately got hit. Overall, I am actually really excited about this list. I would have loved to have gotten Trish back and to have been able to keep Stratos. But for the most part, I like what Konami had done in this list. I like the fact that they had gotten rid of so many power cards, that they took away heavy, and I think that sometimes change is good. And you know, if it's really that bad for the game, I mean, we only have to wait 4 months now before they change it again. So to me, I'm very much looking forward to this format. I think it's going to be really fun and interesting to see how things go. And those are kind of my thoughts on the TCG ban list. In the comment section below, make sure you let me know what you think of the list. Do you hate it with a passion, or do you love it? Do you really think it's good and healthy for the game? And I guess that's it for now. This is GalacticGod, out.